there are things that happen in our life, there are people that we encounter that it makes you question na parang, shit, kung trinato mo ko ng ganito ba talaga akong tao? And then when you've let go or like you've moved on or whatever, that's when you can kind of reel yourself back in and make sure na parang, hey, that was that person.
Yeah.
Just fucking with my mental.
Yeah, I did leave home a couple of years ago. Not because of my mom, not because of anyone, but because I was having an identity crisis.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to another episode of the Bear It All podcast. So for today, we have a guest that's not happy. Sobrang saya ko kasi siya yung guest ko today. So, my guest for today is my sissy actress. Ang dami niya ng role in life ngayon. Ano ba ang gusto mong intro ko sa'yo, sis? Madami ka na.
The identity crisis girl. Madaming roles on TV, movies, and real life.
Yes, but she is one of my dearest friends, Lauren Young.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me, Dani.
Of course. Okay, so for our topic for today, it's going through identity crisis. So I think lahat naman tayo, we go through identity crisis. Actually, ito si Lauren, pinapili ko siya ng topic. Sinend ko sa kanya, ito yung mga topics ng podcast, pili ka. Sabi niya, dito daw siya nakarelate.
I think I gravitated towards this topic specifically because everything that I've been through in my life, I started acting at such a young age. I also had to play like various roles in my life, not just on television, but in real life as well. Like I was a daughter, I was a student, I was a girlfriend, a partner, a sister, and I was a friend, and I was someone who is also a professional. So parang in every aspect of my life, I would always have to somewhat put on a different role because I had different responsibilities and different people that I was interacting with. That when I got to like my late 20s actually, parang I was like, oh my God, who am I? Like, what is my purpose? It's those big questions, especially now that I'm turning 30. I was like, ano ba na-achieve ko? Ano bang mabibigay ko or ma-offer ko sa mundong to or sa mga tao na mahal ko? And I was like, parang I'm no one.
Like for once yung ikaw.
Yeah,
yung for yourself.
Or like, who am I to myself?
Yeah.
That's the biggest one of all. Like, I could be like a great sister or like a horrible sister, but at least I know where I stood.
Yeah.
But who am I to myself? I didn't even know the things I liked.
Yeah.
I didn't know the hobbies that I had no hobbies. That's why nakarelate ako sa episode mo na wala kang hobby. Because I was like, oh my God, that's me! Wala akong hobby. I feel you. Na parang, di ba lumalabas is you keep servicing other people for their wants and their needs. And then when it came to myself, because I had no idea what I wanted and what I needed, parang I would always be caught in like a very existential crisis na something that was so mundane and so little would set me off.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's not what I want.
Yeah.
And then my boyfriend Toby would ask me, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know what I want.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
It's like, help me figure it out.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I can't help you figure that out because that's something you need to figure out on your own. Ikaw lang makakapagsabi.
Yeah.
And then, what else? I think what really put me on that track of trying to figure out who I was when the pandemic happened. Because for the first time in my adult life, I slowed down. Like, I couldn't work. I couldn't go out. Eh, di ba before when you first met me, kung wala ako sa trabaho, nasa labas ako.
Yeah.
Like, even Megan was like, we were living together for a year. She's like, dude, you're never at home.
Yeah, lagi kami ginagawa.
Lagi ako may ginagawa. Di ako mapakali. So for the first time in my life, I wasn't doing anything. Like, parang the possibilities were endless. Yet, I had no options.
Was it like a blessing? The idol moment was a blessing? Or like, nainis ka kasi wala kang ginagawa?
It's a blessing and a curse, my God.
That's true. Well, ako din, I don't like being idol.
Diba, like, in that moment, it feels like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's the curse part. Parang, tangin ang gagawin ko. There's nothing anymore. Like, what am I supposed to do? I can't sit still. And then, the blessing came a little bit later on. 3 years.
Yes, yes.
Diba? So, parang, it was during that downtime when I was like, okay, what are you gonna do with your life? And like, who are you? And what are you interested in? And then that's when I realized what was really lacking in my life was the fact that parang feeling ko na-deprive ako ng childhood ko.
Yeah.
And it's no one's fault. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of people can say, it's your parents' fault because my parents
They
didn't.
made you work
Well,
or stuff like that.
But in the argument, they didn't make me work. I was like,
You
I want
wanted
go
to
work.
work, yeah.
I want to be an artista. The moment is here. I want to do all these things. And like the fact that I was homeschooled, like I always tell you this, diba?
Yeah.
I'm like, I have no friends. I think I had to, going back to that, like I really had to figure out na, okay, you had no childhood. The only experience I have basically was I worked.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that added into the fact that because I was working, I had to grow up
Yeah.
fast. And there was a moment in my career that really stuck with me. I was 14. I'm a child, you
Yeah.
know? And I was working on this teleserye. And it was, syempre, baguhan, 2 years lang ako or 3 years in the industry at this time. And I'm very Western because my dad, he's American.
Yeah.
And we grew up very American. So I'm very like, whatever. Alam mo, may ganun ako. I'm very like, you don't respect me, I don't respect you either.
Yeah.
May ganun ako eh.
Yeah.
And there was this one director. Parang, for me, I'm just, doing my job. It's not a big deal. I'm here. I'm supposed to have fun. I'm a kid. Tapos parang nagkakamali ako kasi there was something he wanted me to do. Tapos hindi ko siya makuha. Eh, syempre parang at 14, I can only comprehend so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
you know. Tapos sabi niya sa akin, parang ginanon niya ako. Sabi niya, ilang taong ka na? I'm 14. Ganun pa ako sumagot eh. Medyo bitchesa kasi talaga ako. I'm just like, I'm 14. And then sabi niya sa akin, 14 ka na pala. You're working, you have to be an adult. Grow up. Gano'n niya ako. So parang ever since
Wow.
then, hindi ako umiyak. Hindi ako na-offend. But
Pero hindi mo nakalimutan.
pero hindi
obviously.
ko nakalimutan. And then ever since then, I acted like I was an adult at 14. So parang, I feel like a Hollywood celebrity. I was like, where's my childhood? Joke lang.
My childhood was robbed.
I was robbed. By who? By me lang. Kasi pinilit ko magtrabaho. Because my mom was like, go to college, go to
Yeah,
high school.
yeah.
Mag-aral ka
But you
muna.
actually tried. You tried going to
Yeah,
college.
I
Kasi
did.
nga doon tayo nakikita nun.
Oo. And I think like even my college experience was very, very different from most, but very similar to others.
Yeah.
Kasi. Like I'm always like, when my parents separated, parang our whole life, it got tossed and everything changed, So my mom, suddenly she was abroad working. My dad, he was doing his own thing and Megan was working. Victor was in school. So parang, it was Mikael who said it. He was like, when your parents separated, it was so weird because instead of the three of you siblings being closer together,
Parang
naghiwa-hiwalay.
nagkawatak-watak kayo.
Yeah, we're like, okay, fuck, mom and dad's gone. Let's do our own thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like partying or whatever. It's just like, wala, we have to take care of ourselves because now our parents are busy with their stuff.
Yeah.
We have to grow up. So dun na naman pumasok. You gotta grow
Yeah.
up, Lauren.
Yeah.
And I was 17 at that time. So when I was going to college, parang it was very difficult for me. I so badly wanted it to be normal. But then I was like, wala eh. How can it be normal? One, you're working Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 24 hours. 'Cause
Iba
it's
ning normal
taping.
mo na nakasanayan.
Oo. And then pagpapasok ka sa school, antok na antok ka. Ireg ka. Lahat ng kaklase mo, iba-iba.
Yeah.
And it was so hard because I was paying for my own tuition.
Yeah.
And Binil's expensive. So I don't know why I chose to go to that fucking school. Because it was so mahal for like a working
Mahal talaga
student.
siya.
Diba?
Mahal talaga
And
siya.
mas mahal siya kasi hindi ako nagfo-full units
Yeah.
eh. So parang, dami ko binabayaran ng miscellaneous, diba?
Yeah.
And then, I think I went there because during that time, my sister Megan was going there. And syempre, I was like, gaya-gaya ako sa ate ko. So, bibinil din ako. Not knowing na, puta, mahal-mahal pala, diba? So parang, yung naging crisis ko naman was, pag may taping ako, may show ako, dami kong pera. Pero wala akong oras para mag-aral.
Yeah.
And then pag wala akong show, kailangan ko i-budget yung
Sayang
pera
din
ko.
yung binayad mo, technically.
Oo. And then pag wala akong show, kailangan ko i-budget yun kasi kailan ako magkakaroon ng next show. So I was like, fuck, wala naman akong pera. Ang dami-dami kong oras.
Yeah.
So sabi ko, I have to make the tough decision. I stopped going to school.
Yeah.
And then, it always goes back to showbiz.
Yeah.
You know?
You think showbiz has become your parang comfort zone? Na parang you think when things in your life isn't going great, parang you feel that yun yung pwede mong balik-balikan?
I think I'm very confident kasi that I can so easily go back to showbiz.
Yeah.
Because I'm so confident to know that I can easily go back to showbiz. Not because, and di ako mayabang about this, but it's because I'm so confident with my skills.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of time and a lot of effort to really hone my acting
Yeah.
and to be a professional, that I know if people wanted to hire me just based on acting skills, I could deliver.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I don't want to lose weight talaga. So I feel like part of like my identity crisis also goes back to showbiz kasi. And showbiz, as beautiful and as fun as it was for me and as great as an opportunity it is, it holds a very traumatic time in my life. And you know this.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was in showbiz, I started dabbling into alcohol,
Yeah.
partying, and then there was one time I was like crying to Toby and I was like, Toby, I don't know. I was like, am I an alcoholic? As in, it came to that point na akala ko alcoholic na ako. I just stayed in my room and I was just crying all night long.
Yeah.
Because like alcohol and I, like, it has a very bad role in my life.
But meron ka awareness. Buti na lang may awareness ka. Like, alam mo, kasi so some people, yun naman yung problema nila. Na kailangan may mag-wake up call sa kanila. At least ikaw, you are your own wake up call.
Yeah. Well, because to be honest, I always lived by the rule that I have, and this has nothing to do with my family or my friends, but I have no one in this world but myself. Yun yung lagi kong guide sa isip ko na you're the only one who can help yourself. You're the only one who can fuck it up for yourself. So get your shit together.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as supportive as my family is, we're also the type of people that we don't like bothering each other with our problems. And Megan's always like, you can just call me if you need anything. Yung boses niya in my head, ganun yung boss ni Megan. You can just call me, love, if you need anything.
Kaboses niya talaga.
Or
Medyo
like,
creepy.
if you need help, like, just call your ate. Ganyan siya. I'm like, I don't need your help. I'll do it on my own. She's like, okay, but I'm just a call away. In fairness, ako offer naman siya lagi. But I'm very stubborn. I'm like, no, my problem, find my solution. Ganun ako. And wala. So since that's the way that I operate, I really had to like dig myself out of it. And part of it was because I wasn't liking who I was turning into.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw how hard I partied.
Yeah.
It's intense. And like I think you've also seen my shift when I'm drinking.
Hindi na umiinom ngayon yan.
Like I haven't drank in a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And what do you call this? The shift is extreme because I'm very quiet when I'm sober. And but when we're close, I'm very
sociable,
I'm very nice.
machika, yes.
And I'm very, very nice.
Yeah.
But then when I drink alcohol, I turn so nasty. Like, parang sabi ko nga kay Toby, I was like, you know, one of the reasons why we don't fight now is because I've learned to control my alcohol intake. Because I remember talaga before, in public when we're with friends, life of the party, tara, enjoy. Pero pag umuwi,
nag-aaway na kayo.
Wala ba siyang ginagawa, inaaway ko lang siya, di ba? Kawawa yung tao, he doesn't deserve that. And because I value our relationship, I really wanted to make that shift, not only for him, but for my well-being as well. Because I would really wake up the next day, like, feeling like, it's not even like I have so much shame and so much guilt. And I knew it was bad because there was like there was this one night that we went out to drink and then I didn't drink a lot. I was like socializing. And then the next day I woke up and then the first thing I felt was shame. And then tinanong ko siya, sabi ko, hey, did I say anything weird? Did I do anything wrong or anything? He's like, no, it's fine. Like, everything was fun. And I was like, shit, ito na yun. Wala na nga akong ginagawa. Meron pa akong negative feelings when I wake up. So I know that what I'm doing, this temporary happiness that alcohol creates, is not worth the things that I feel the next day.
Yeah.
So that's when I really, and it was tough. It was tough to stop because it became such a norm for me. And I felt like that's where my other identity crisis came in. I felt like I really needed alcohol to drive and bring out my personality.
Yeah.
And I felt like, it was like, remember the first few weeks na hindi ako umiinom? Talagang hindi ako nagsasalita.
Yeah.
Because I had that inner battle talaga na parang, okay, ikaw ba talaga to? Kasi pag hindi ka umiinom, ang boring mo. But then if you're going to drink, you're going to feel so much regret the next day. So I would end up just sitting and like not speaking. And like
Yeah.
people are like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine. But deep inside, I was like, I want to drink so bad. But I
Yeah.
also don't want to drink. Yung parang may push and pull ako lagi.
Yeah.
And that's why I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to stop.
Do you think like, okay, so in your sa phase ng life mo ngayon, are you still in survival mode or you're now enjoying your life?
Now I'm enjoying my life. And I think I can enjoy my life now because I made sure to take the necessary steps in order for myself to heal.
Yeah.
Like I knew what was I identified what was lacking. I identified what needed to be done and how to achieve that empty space that was in my soul.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I fill it in? And then how does that make me whole as a person? And so what I realized was I needed to tap into my inner child, which is why I liked game.
Yeah.
And I needed to stop drinking alcohol, which is why I don't go out anymore. And then I needed to also be firm. Kasi weak shit ako talaga eh. I'm the type of girl, like, I just give in.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you want, just, for me, it was like, whatever you want, sige, para madali na lang, oo na lang, oo
Para
na lang.
tapos na. Sige,
Para tapos
oo na lang.
But then, I'm the one who's left with, dapat di ko sinabi yun.
Yeah.
Dapat di ako pumayag. So now, I'm very firm with how I live my life. Like, I've identified what are the things in my life that make me happy and what will make me feel accomplished. And I feel like that's why I'm not so tempted to go back to showbiz because I just kind of got over everything, you know?
Yeah.
And whenever I have the thought of magkakashow ako,
Yeah.
parang it gives me anxiety now.
Yeah.
So that's why I have been trying to figure out other ways for myself to generate income.
Yeah.
So, and like, I like doing things on my own time. I like doing things that I love, which is why I really love content creation.
Yeah.
And I'm more driven to kind of stay in that route. And then I always say to Toby, I'm like, you know, one day I will go back to showbiz because to be honest, I love acting.
Yeah, and you're good at it.
I'm brilliant, fuck. Joke.
Love
it. No, but like, parang I will go back to it, but I feel like I'm just not ready just right now. And
Well, hawak mo yung oras mo ngayon. So
Yeah.
you decide, maybe this time around it's different. You get to decide when you want to come back.
yeah, and this time around, I feel like when I come back, I'll be like in the best shape of my life. I'll be better physically, mentally, emotionally, that whatever is thrown my way, I could handle it.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, I don't want to put myself in a position where I know I will feel any bit of misery
Yeah.
just to make a couple thousand pesos.
Yeah.
Like, hindi kasi ako materialistic na tao eh. I was really explaining that to Toby. I was like, syempre we live together
Yeah.
now, right? And like, it's my first time living with a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And we live in his house and like, so syempre parang there's a big adjustment for me. And then I was like, you know, the reason why you think I'm so difficult is because this is the first time in my life that I didn't do it on my own.
Yeah.
Like, I needed your help. I asked for your help. And just to ask for it was a big thing from me.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm still here, sabi ko, you just have to be patient with me. Kasi hindi talaga ako sanay na tinutulungan ako ng tao. Because yung how I see it is, pag tinulungan mo ako, I failed. Because
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it
Yeah.
out on my own. And then it was like a lot of like conversations that were very like about love and like gentleness that he had to really explain to me na, you know, we're partners. Just because I help you doesn't mean you failed.
Yeah.
It's just because this is how it works. We
Yeah.
have to help each other. Just like in times na parang, like maybe I'm just lucky that he doesn't need a lot of help because that guy, he has it all figured out. And like, he's so like, yung parang with his personality na determined siya na, this is who I am. This is what I believe in.
Yeah.
And you can't force me to
Yeah.
change my views, right? Which is kind of bad and kind of good. But his is the good side naman. So parang he was like, I just had to realize that parang, you know, I'm lucky that I have someone who is so gentle with me and so understanding that I was able to kind of let my guard down and be like, okay, all the help that I rejected from Megan, you can help me with now.
No, but Same.
Diba?
Same, I think same with my life. I never ask for help. Kahit minsan, girl, namamatay na ako. Like, umiiyak na ako, di na ako makatulog,
Ikaw pa din yung
sobrang stress
magfi-figure
na
out.
ako. I will still do everything I can para ma-solve ko yung problema mo. Problema ko, kahit hindi ko na kaya.
Yeah.
So, parang nagkaroon din ako ng time na for the first time, nag-open up din ako kay Javi na parang sabi ko, oh my God, yun mo yung words pa lang na hindi ko kaya. Ang sakit na sa akin sabihin yun.
Kasi it's like you're accepting defeat
Parang hindi, imposibleng hindi ko to kaya. Bakit hindi ko to ma-figure out? Is there something wrong with me? Ito na naman na biniblame ko na naman yung sarili ko. And he really had to tell me na parang, you don't have to have it figured out all the time. People can help you. And hindi naman ibig sabihin, actually now I know that asking help it's a form of strength.
Yes.
It's because you're, I don't know, strong enough to even ask.
Yeah.
Na parang, hey, I can't do this anymore. You gotta help me.
And you're strong enough to know, to realize what are the limits.
Yeah.
What are you only capable of? Because to be honest, there's no such thing as a Superman or Superwoman or anything like that. Everyone has their faults. Everyone has their capabilities. And there's no shame in admitting na parang hanggang dito ka lang.
Yeah. Totoo naman yun.
Diba?
I think doon naman kasi,
there's no shame in being normal.
kaya ka din nagkakaroon ng identity crisis kasi parang feeling mo pa minsan lahat kaya mong gawin.
And you expect too much of yourself.
Yes.
Diba?
Parang you also have to, talagang maniwala ka na lang sa sarili mo na, okay, ito lang kaya kong gawin. Hindi mo na kailangan pilitin yung sarili mo to be someone else. Just because hindi mo ma-figure out to.
Yeah.
Yun din ang before, sabi ko, kay Javi, nung time na yon, before you, I was a totally different person. I was like, kind of like you. I was very angry at the world.
Yes.
I felt like nothing was in my favor. No one, feeling ko nga like, I love so much, nobody loves me this much. How come? Or like, I give so much, how come nobody does
Gives
that
the
for
same.
me? Like, am I not special? Hindi ba ako kamahal-mahal? Kasi hindi nyo ginagawa lahat to para sa akin. And I just realized it's not their fault eh.
Yeah.
Hindi nila kasalanan yun. You cannot expect people to do the things that you can do for them because we're all different.
Yes.
So that's also something that I had to to kind of let go because nagkaroon din ako ng point na parang I think my mom loves my other siblings more.
Yeah.
Like maybe because ganito, maybe ganyan, pero ako na-realize ko, hindi na naman ako ganun kalambing sa mommy ko. Hindi na naman ako ganito sa mommy ko. So, yung mga kapatid ko ubod ng lambing sa kanya.
So why do you feel like you deserve these things
Diba?
when you don't put in the same amount of effort to receive
Yung
it?
nanay ko, natatakot ako kausapin ako kasi lagi akong galit. Or lagi akong defensive. Like, ako din eh. Alam mo yun? Like, in every relationship, it's a give and take form na kailangan kung ano yung gusto mong ma-receive, yun din yung kaya mong ibigay. Kasi, sa mommy ko, like, sabi niya, Dan, they ask for my help. You don't.
Yeah.
Sabi niya, like, nahihirapan ka na pala, but tumakbo ka ba sa akin? Tapos, nung hindi niya ako, let's say, she wasn't there, sinisi ko pa siya.
Yeah.
Na parang, you were not there. But I didn't give her the chance to be there
Yes.
for me. That's the thing.
And you also have to navigate the world that what I learned was people can't read my mind.
Yeah. Oh my
Ganun.
God. I have to learn the hard way.
Diba? And I think that's why also I have less identity crises now and I'm in such a better place. I'm so much happier. Is because I've learned that a lot of things are not in my control. And those things I just have to deal with it or like just accept it. But the things that are in my control, that's the things I focus on.
Yeah. Dapat naman kasi talaga. Alam mo ba dami, like sabi ko kami, ang dami naming things in common. Pero like itong story niya, na alala ko yung time na I left home. And I think like, that's the thing na parang people were just talking about but they didn't really get an answer out of me if I did. Like, I did leave home a couple of years ago. Not because of my mom, not because of anyone, but because I was having an identity crisis.
Yeah.
Like, I got out of a 5-year relationship and I all of a sudden did not know
Who you were.
who I was na kasi I relied too much of myself dun sa tao.
Yeah.
Na parang feeling ko nung nawala siya, nawala na din. Oh my God. Sino na ako ngayon?
Yeah.
Saan ako lulugar ngayon? Ano na bang ginagawa ko? Kasi parang binigay ko masyado lahat sa isang tao. So, nung nawala siya, parang
Walang
feeling
naiwan
ko,
sa'yo.
walang naiwan sa akin. So, nung umalis ako ng bahay, nawala yung main support system ko, which is my family. And, being away from them for a long time, like ikaw, di ba, sabi mo 6 months? I think I was only away from them for 4 months. feeling ko nawalan ako ng backbone.
Yeah.
Nawalan ako ng, parang sabi ko, ba't ko ba ito ginagawa? Para kanino ko ba ito ginagawa? But alam mo, pinanindigan ko yun. Hindi talaga ako umuwi kasi parang feeling ko I had a lot to figure out for myself. And thankfully, I really did.
Yeah.
Yung doon ko na straighten out yung buhay ko. Yun yung lagi ko sinasabi sa mga, whenever I get interviewed, I always say na, that had to happen. I needed to do that for myself because when I did that, I found myself. I knew who I was. And dumire-dire-diretso na lahat sa buhay ko nun. Naging maayos na lahat nun. I found Javi. He became my boyfriend. I had Millie. Everything in my life parang
Laid out.
laid out. Like, sana nagawa ko ng mas maayos. Hindi ako nagbahay nun eh. Yun ang pinakamasakit sa akin. Hindi ako nagbahay sa mom ko nung time na yun. Umalis lang ako. And that's one of the greatest pains of her life kasi she blamed herself.
Yeah.
So, I blame myself for doing that to her.
For giving her that pain.
For giving her that pain. My siblings didn't know why I left them.
Yeah.
We're very close, so they feel like iniwan ko sila.
But you know, I also think that there are certain things that have to happen in our lives.
Yeah.
And as bad as it is to say, sometimes regardless if we cause pain to other people, minsan kailangan siya mangyari
Kailangan
for
talaga siya
yourself.
mangyari. Totoo.
And then ang mangyayari na lang is you just have to constantly deal with the consequences of repairing something that needed to happen to you,
Yeah.
but they don't understand.
Yeah.
You just always have to make it up to them. But then one day, you know, I also believe that everything will be okay.
Yeah.
As long as you put in the right amount of effort and be genuine with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't enjoy life without a little pain.
Well, that's true. For me, kung di ba sabi nila, lahat ng mga tao may pinakamadaming pinagdaanan sa buhay, yun yung may pinaka dapat may matutunan in life. And I feel like this is the hand that we were dealt with ever since we were young. So parang now that we're at a good place in our lives, we understand now why all of those had to happen. And I feel like also, I wouldn't be who I am today if those things never happened to me. Like, girl, ang dami naman din kasi identity crisis sa buhay ko. Meron din ako issue with abandonment.
Yeah.
And I end up with toxic men. This is the only healthy relationship I've ever been with. Like, I've ever been in. And I always felt like that's what I deserved.
Yeah.
Because hindi ko nga kilala ko, hindi ko alam kung anong deserve ko, girl. Like, I didn't know what I deserve. Ito ba yun? Kasi iniwan ako ng mga tao mahal ko sa buhay. Lahat ng mga dapat hindi mananakit sa akin, sila yung nanakit sa akin.
But then, parang it comes a point in your life, because the same thing happened to me. Like, my dad left, and then I've always been with men that I shouldn't have been with, and then surrounding myself with people that I know are bad for me. And then, when they all leave, I'm like, anong mali sa akin? But then, the older you get, the more people you encounter, and the more good people that you encounter, marirealize mo that sometimes the problem's not with you eh.
Yeah.
It's them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, my dad left. That wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
He chose to leave.
Yeah.
Diba? If I had an asshole boyfriend, he wasn't an asshole because I triggered him to be an asshole. Sometimes he's just a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Diba? And I think the more I come into terms that I am only responsible for my actions, for the words out of my mouth, and then whatever comes out of your mouth, it's more of a reflection of you.
Yeah, of you na
so
lang.
That's why nowadays, diba? Parang it seems like nothing phases me.
Yeah.
And like when people say nasty things to me, or like I know someone's talking shit about me, or if I'm not okay with someone, I always just say, it sounds like a you problem. Because you all know I'm the type of person na kapag may nangyayari, di ba like ko sinasabi sa'yo to, like when we were in a bad place also at one point, I was like, alam mo, kausapin mo lang ako. Kasi madali naman ako kausap eh.
Yeah.
Because I also said to you, Daddy, I cannot read your mind.
Yeah.
Ginanong kita before
Yeah.
eh. And then ever since we had that conversation, our relationship has been stronger.
Yeah.
And now we have a better understanding of like, okay, ganito siya mag-isip. Ganito yung galawan niya. Now, when something happens, and I said to you, I was like, this is probably the first time that we're not going to be okay. And I said, this is not going to be the last time that something happens in our life that maybe we'll fight again.
Yeah.
Maybe like magkatampuhan tayo. That's life. But now we know how to handle things.
Yeah.
And now it's not going to drag out.
Yeah.
And I take that lesson with me with every encounter I have with everyone in my life. That I'm like, if I have a problem with you, I'm gonna say it to you.
Direktahin mo na sa kanya. Yan din ang huli nating topic, di ba? Kasi ganyan din nangyari sa akin. The fight I had with my best friend for me was the most painful for me because hindi kami nag-usap.
Yeah.
And itong pinaka-weird, best friend ko yun, bakit hindi kami nag-uusap? Yun nga yung easiest for us to do. But because we were not, natatakot kami sa siguro possible
Reaction ng
conflict.
isa.
Oo, ng reaction ng isa na baka ma-damage palalo ata yung friendship, if ganyan. But yun pala, that's all we really needed.
A conversation.
Kasi when we finally spoke na kaming dalawa, nagkaintindihan kami kasi
Yeah.
alam naman namin from the get-go, kaya nga kami mag-best friend eh.
Yes.
Kasi we understand each other in that level. We should have just done this from the get-go. And you know what? I feel like I should have done that with the other people na nawala sa buhay ko before.
Yeah, but also, if they're gone now, for me, it also, it means they're not meant to last. Because
Yeah.
it takes two eh.
Yeah.
So just because, halimbawa, let's say if you cut me off, diba, and I felt like there was still something worth fighting for
Yeah.
with our relationship, you would see me still trying to repair it. But if I give up as well, that means you both don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
So why bother? So that's
Pero parang
okay.
feeling ko, it's just not the repair. It's just more of the things I wanted to say that I wasn't able to.
You need to get off your chest.
Na until now, I regret not being able to say it.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot specifically say kung sino yung dinedescribe ko. Pero, ang dami kong gustong sabihin sa kanya kasi siya talaga yung pinaka nakasakit sa akin.
Yeah.
And, hindi ko sa kanya masabi kasi lagi niyang
Shut
misinterpret.
down.
Lagi niya sinasabi na either nagsisinungaling ako or lagi niya akong ini-invalidate.
It's just a very negative
Oo.
thing.
Lagi nai-invalidate yung feelings ko na parang pinaparamdam sa akin na wala akong karapatan masaktan. Di ko dapat naramdaman yun. When in fact, I had all the right to feel that
Yeah.
way. And you know what you did to me. Hindi mo lang ma-admit sa sarili mo. You cannot strike dominance. You cannot say, kailangan mo ako respetuhin. And you can't also expect me to always
Let go.
come to you and repair it.
Yeah.
I cannot repair what you broke.
Yeah.
You know, you're supposed to repair what you broke. And ako na lang, I just control na lang how I react to it.
Have you ever thought of like just letting it go?
No, I have na.
Yeah.
It took a really long time for me to let it go. But I've come to a point na rin na tumanda na ako, okay na ako. I'm in
So
a
with
good
or
place.
without the
Yeah.
conversation.
With or
you're good.
without the conversation, I'm okay na.
But better kung meron, diba?
Better sana, di ba?
always
Better
better,
sana,
oo.
kasi gusto mo rin sana ng explanation kung bakit nangyari yung mga nangyari, bakit nasabi yung mga nasabi. Gusto mo din sana ng apology.
Yeah.
Kasi feeling ko deserve ko din ng apology.
But sometimes talaga, no, there are things in our life that we'll never get the conversations that we want
Yeah.
or we think that we deserve. And then I think when you come, like you've come to a point that you're like, you know, it probably won't happen. I'll move on.
Yeah.
And you'll be okay. And like what my mom says, like, you know, that's the best revenge you can give someone.
Yeah.
You show them that you're happy. You show them that
Yeah.
you're great. And because at the end of the day, the more you think about them, the more you think about these negativities in your life, especially if you don't want to deal with it or alam mong walang resolution to it, the more it drags you down. That even the beautiful things in life, they will seem dark and gloomy
Yeah.
to you.
Well, sometimes ang walang closure is the closure.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes yun na yun talaga. It's meant to be na wala kayong closure.
And that's not a reflection of you.
Yeah.
Because
No,
you wanted the conversation.
I kind of like stopped blaming myself na. Because I think I've done enough.
Yeah.
I've done enough reaching out. I've done enough, I did all that I could.
Balls in your court,
Yeah.
homeboy or homegirl that daddy's talking about.
Parang ginawa ko na lahat on my end.
Yeah.
So, kung meron bang dapat gumawa ng first move, hindi na sa akin dapat manggaling yun kasi lahat na ng move ginawa ko na. So, dapat ngayon, ikaw naman sana, lalo na marami ng reason para yung taong yun gawin yun para sa akin.
Yeah.
Ayoko na lang kasi I don't want any more,
Ill feelings.
yeah. Parang the respect will always be there. You'll always love the person. It's just, you can love them now from afar.
Yes.
Yun na
And I
lang.
think that always goes back to like who we are as people and going back to like the identity crisis, because there are things that happen in our life, there are people that we encounter that it makes you question na
Yeah.
parang, shit, kung trinato mo ko ng ganito ba talaga akong tao?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then when you've let go or like you've moved on or whatever, that's when you can kind of reel yourself back in and make sure na parang, hey, that was that person.
Yeah.
just fucking with my mental
Yeah.
and trying to see. They were trying to make me think that I am this way.
I'm the problem.
Yeah. It's me. Hi.
I-
Sorry. But diba?
There was once we were always the problem in everybody's mouths. But
Diba? But at the end of the day, it sounds like a you problem. And then when you reel it back in, and then you're like, that's not who I am. I'm not going to let a person dictate who I'm supposed to be. That's when you really find out na parang, ito talaga ako.
yeah. And sometimes identity crisis roots from that. It roots from the fact that you have so much anger, di ka nakaka-let go sa mga bagay-bagay. Hindi ka pa nakaka-move forward sa mga bagay na
Yes.
nakakasakit sa'yo or nakasakit sa'yo. So ngayon, you lost ka sa buhay
Yeah,
mo.
and you start to shift into like this little gremlin
Yeah.
of hate. And then,
Total shift
yeah.
na ibang tao ka na.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having negative feelings. You're supposed to feel all sorts of emotions because that's what life is about.
Yeah.
That's what a human being is. We're all stemming from happiness and anger
Yeah.
and sadness, right? But at the end of the day, we cannot let these emotions dictate who we are.
Yeah.
Like when I'm angry, and you know me, I get angry a lot.
Yeah.
Especially
Same,
in the
girl.
past, diba? But like, just because I get angry doesn't mean I'm an angry person.
Or doesn't mean I'm a bad person.
Yeah. Just because I'm sad doesn't mean all I have is sadness in my
Yeah.
heart and I'm just a sad girl. These are just things na parang, maybe I'm having a tough month.
Yeah. Give
But
me
then,
a break.
Yeah, but then one day I'll let it go and then I'll go back to who I truly am.
Yeah.
Diba? And I'll show you who my character really is. These are just like bumps in the road.
Yeah.
But don't identify with me. Don't assume that that is who I am.
Okay, so since like we talked about all the bad things or the identity crisis, now is like the best part of our conversation. It's like, so who is Lauren now? Has Lauren found herself now?
Ako lang to.
Ako lang naman to eh. Kayo naman.
I think, at the end of the day, I'm only 29 going on 30 and I still have my life ahead of me. I have yet to experience like being a wife and a mom, and I know my personality and everything in my life will shift when these milestones hit. But as of this moment, I'm just a girl who doesn't give a shit. No, I'm more like, I practice daily the art of letting go.
Yeah.
I'm just someone who I live my life for me. And I'm really happy that I do that because, like what I said earlier, nothing phases me. Someone is being a dick to me. I'm just like, whatever. Sounds like it's your problem, not
Yeah.
mine. And I'm just out here enjoying my life. Kaya siguro parang hindi ako naapektuhan sa lahat ng mga, like, I get comments also that are hurtful. But to be honest, I don't get hurt by them because sabi ko na lang sa sarili ko, you've come a long way, Lauren.
Yeah.
Like, when people ask me, oh, why'd you gain weight? I'm like, I stopped drinking kasi.
Yeah.
Diba? I mean, I can't keep saying that to people because, like, I can't, like, just unload my life story onto
Yeah, but
you.
for me, sobrang toxic talaga na pag tinatanong ng tao yun.
Yeah, but, like, that's really my reason. Like, what? I've let go of other things in my life and I think I'm just directing my focus to just my happiness.
Hindi, masaya ka na kasi ngayon.
Yeah.
You're in a really good place in your life. So, ayaw mo na masira yun.
Yeah.
Parang, kung kayo pasisira, sayang. Like, ang dami ko nang ginawa to get here.
Yes.
You can't ruin me with just saying I gained weight. Like, get a life.
To be honest, gaining weight for me was a very good thing for me because there was a time in my life that I really wasn't eating. I was working out 7 days a week, not consuming food and not sleeping. As in, nagkakape lang ako,
Yeah.
eat an apple or whatever. It's very unhealthy. Everyone thought I looked my best.
Yeah.
But deep inside, it was just horrible.
Yeah.
So, parang when people ask me about gaining weight, to them, it may seem like I let go.
Yeah.
But to me, it was everything that I needed. Because
Yes.
gaining weight meant that I had a better relationship with food. I wasn't overworking my body. And I wasn't consuming things that were toxic
You're
inside.
healthier.
And I'm healthier. Actually, I think this is the healthiest I've been in my
Yeah.
life. Maybe I need to lose a couple of pounds. But we'll get there, you know?
No, but that's what
but
people
then-
need to know.
But then that's my problem
Yeah.
now. That's not your problem
Yeah.
anymore. And like gaining weight, it puts me in a place where I am who I am. And I've never been happier. And this is the time in my life where I actually know kung sino ba talaga ako.
Yeah.
So, maybe right now, going to the gym is quite triggering for me.
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm just like always, parang dito lang ako, masaya
At your
ako
own
dito.
pace.
Oh, at
like,
my own pace.
when you want, then you go do
Yes.
that. But that's not your priority now.
Exactly.
That's what I always tell people. Like, we all have different priorities as of the moment. And she wants to focus on other things. So, I think people just has to respect that hindi yun yung gusto mong gawin ngayon. Masaya ka sa ginagawa mo ngayon. Masaya ka sa buhay mo ngayon. Baka bukas gumising ako, gusto ko magpapayat.
Totoo.
Kayang-kaya niya.
I think kasi now yung priority ko lang talaga, it's really like what's going on
in
here.
yes.
Because for a long time, it was a very dark place. And now that I've just about figured out who I am.
Yeah.
So like, let me live. I want to live in this moment for a little while.
Yeah.
And then I'll keep adding on to it one by one, the other aspects of my life. But right now, I'm okay just living in my little bubble.
Yeah.
Diba? So yeah. So that's who I am. I'm just a happy girl with very simplistic life. And I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
I want to be surrounded by people who love me. And I don't need a lot of things. And yeah. That's it.
Yeah, same, girl.
Siyahin lang ako. Kung di mo ako trip, di din kita trip.
Like, after how many years of my life of trying to figure out where I'm supposed to place myself, what I'm supposed to do, who am I outside my family, like,
Yeah.
I that's a constant battle within myself for years. But now, like, I found myself. I'm so happy with my life.
Yeah.
I get that I have so much problems sometimes, but it cannot ruin what I have.
Yes.
Like, yeah, ang daming problema, but that's part of life. Ano bang buhay kung wala kang problema, di ba?
Totoo.
But the things that matter to me, like my husband's happy, my child's healthy and happy,
And you are too.
and I'm very happy. Like, I'm at the place in my life that I can honestly say that I am. But they always say na, sinasabi mo yan kasi you have to prove something. For the first time in my life, I do not have to justify why I'm happy. I just really am. Like,
Yeah.
hindi ko kailangan i-explain further or i-elaborate kung bakit ako masaya. Kung kilala nyo, kung alam nyo, kung ano yung difference ko, kung anong difference ng buhay ko ngayon or kung ano ko ngayon. So parang feeling ko, ngayon, that's why this is a topic, is because we were so lost for many years.
Yes.
And now we are found. Wow.
And it's pretty
And now
cool
we're
because,
found.
like, even if we live totally different lives, and we are different but yet the same.
Yeah.
And we have very different lifestyles. I feel like sometimes our life kind of goes on the same track.
Yeah.
And it's funny how we kind of figure it out together.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nice. It's nice to have a friend like that.
Kasi sabi ko, as you get older, kailangan din talaga ma-realize mo yung mga taong ikikip mo sa buhay mo. Kasi yan din yung mga tao na, di ba, they always say you are who your friends are.
Yes.
So, as you get older, if napapansin mo, lumiliit na yung circle mo, ibig sabihin, ibang tao ka na.
Yeah.
You're in a-
Na-identify mo na kung ano
na-identify mo na kung sino ka, sino yung mga taong gusto mong sa buhay mo, and kung sino yung gusto mong, kung sino yung dapat tanggalin sa buhay mo.
Yes.
And kami, thankfully, we didn't have to figure that out
We didn't have
later
to
on.
cut each other off.
We didn't have to cut each other off, you know?
Thank
like,
God.
it's a connection, like, it's a friendship that e-effortan mo yun. But you know, it's good to find good friends in your life at this age because ang dami na nangyayari sa buhay natin ngayon. And they really take good care of Millie. So parang we're in a good place. All of us are like, fights will happen as we get older, but we know where we stand in each other's life. So we don't have to second guess that. Like, ito na lang, I think that's the thing, the parting words we can tell you. It's like, if you are honestly going through an identity crisis right now, reflect on the things that you think yung may malaking impact sa buhay mo. Like, one is your relationship. So that is your friendship, your partner,
Your family.
your family. Yan yung mga kailangan mo munang tignan. Ano ba yung nangyayari sa bahay? Ano ba nangyayari sa friendships mo? Like, because again, there are some people that mold into the people that they're always with. So if you're that kind of friend na you mold into your friends.
Like you're a chameleon.
Ganun ka. Then magkakaroon ka talaga ng identity crisis. So you have to figure out that kung gano'n ka bang tao.
Yes.
Kasi kailangan mo ma-realize na are you with the right crowd? Because if you're that kind of person, then you have to surround yourself with
Good
people that will help you grow.
Yes.
Not people that will
Will drag you down.
will drag you down.
And I think it's really important to have those tough conversations with yourself, because like that was something that really helped me. It was really pinpointing what are the things in my life that make me feel shameful, that
Yeah.
make me question myself, that puts doubt in my heart.
Yeah.
And then when you identify those things, it's hard enough to identify them, but it's harder to actually put something in action
Yeah.
to make sure that you eradicate those things
Yeah.
from your life.
Yeah.
And after that, you have to stand by who you think you are.
Yeah.
And papanindigan mo yun, syempre.
Oo,
But
syempre.
also, there's always chance and time to grow.
Yeah.
And these things don't happen overnight. Like, to be honest, mine happened in like 4 years. And I'm still just at that place where I'm just okay with
Yeah.
who I am. And
Yeah.
I know there's so much more that I can do. But as long as you have your support system, and if you don't, you make yourself your
Yeah.
support system.
Again, we're going back. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
Kahit ano pang klaseng help yan. Professional or
Personal.
whatever that is. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help, because sometimes that help might change your life. So always, and I think one is also asking for help is not a sign of weakness. I learned the hard way. I was like that, Lo was like that, and now it's not so hard anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, hindi na siya burden, hindi na siya nakakatakot gawin. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and sana may na-inspire kayo, may na-pick up kayo. If you're struggling with identity crisis, I hope may na-impart kaming dalawa sa inyo today. And again, you're gonna get through it. It's life. It's just gonna get harder and harder from here. All you have to do is just
Learn how to deal with it.
learn how to deal with it, because that's all. Ganun lang na tayo.
Tama.
We always just have to figure things out. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any suggestions on what our next podcast should be, please don't be afraid to put it in our comment section. So thank you, Lo.
Thanks, Dani.
Bye, guys.
Bye.